This video offers a few tips on how to take multiple choice questions for my evidence exam. In terms of the substance of the question, it's helpful to read the call of the question before you read the fact pattern, and maybe even take a quick peek at the answers. The purpose in doing this is to help orient yourself as you read the question then more thoroughly. When you do read the full question, you must read it with care. You need to take in all of the facts, but don't fight those facts. In other words, don't assume facts that are not there. Many of my answers are set up in the following form. They say that you should admit the evidence, or the court should admit the evidence under a specific rule because, and then the answer proceeds to give the reason. As you look at this type of question, you need to be sure that the statement following the because is a correct description of the rule and also is a correct application of the rule to the facts. As you look at whether it's a correct application, make sure that every requirement of that particular rule can be met on the facts given. In terms of logistics, be careful of your time. I allocate 3 minutes per question. You don't want to get bogged down on one question and not have time to finish questions that you might find easier in a later part of the exam. As you go through the questions, even if you are unsure of the answer for one, you should go ahead and select an answer. Don't leave it blank because you might not get back to it, or even worse, you might get off track with the numbers. So go ahead and fill it in, but leave yourself a note about what you were thinking and to remind yourself to go back and consider it again if you have time. Also, be sure you take care in coloring in your bubbles so you don't get off track or do it in a sloppy way that doesn't give you credit. When you're taking multiple choice questions on hearsay, there are some special things to think about. In particular, if one of the possible answers is that it is non-hearsay, in other words, it's a out-of-court statement that's not offered for its truth, you need to take care to identify what the statement is being offered to prove. Remember, what the statement is offered to prove often determines whether the statement is hearsay or not hearsay. So you should underline or circle that part of the question so that you're crystal clear on it. Second, you should then run through the main categories of non-hearsay to see if any apply. So do a mental check on whether it's impeachment or a verbal act or effect on listener, etc. And then finally, you should ask whether there is any other argument that the statement is not offered for its truth. Most non-hearsay statements fall within one of the 5 categories that we looked at, but not all of them do, so you've got to do this extra check just in case. If you're trying to choose between hearsay exceptions, the key is to look for requirements that cannot be met to eliminate the wrong answers. You need to know the requirements of each hearsay exception well enough that as you consider each possible answer, you can go through and tick off each hearsay requirement and see whether it's met on the facts given. When you decide on an answer, go back through and do a double check to be sure that each requirement of that particular exception can be met on the facts given. In class, we will do a variety of sample multiple choice questions, and if you have any questions about it, I'll be glad to answer them then.